in terms of what he became, I could see the same Roy Keane shouting and roaring at the Manchester United players as I saw him shouting and roaring at our lads.
Team 33. This is OTB Sports Radio.
Let's finish with Roy Keane then.
Good man, Roy.
Because we have to get Roy Keane in. So essentially, you were coaching in the fast course that it was previously there for players like him who were really good and they wanted to go and develop and they wanted to make a bit of money, and it was essentially a government scheme to get young people getting paid to play football. Essentially, what was Roy Keane like, adolescent Roy Keane, to work with?
First of all, before I started on Roy Keane, right, it was a fantastic initiative, and there are still fast football FAI courses. Right now, Joe McGrath, who was the international manager at the time, the under-15, under-16 international manager, Joe was lucky that he had a foot in both camps. Joe worked for FOSS, right, and he was the international team manager. So I couldn't talk about the FOSS courses without paying, a compliment to Joe. It was Joe, because of his unique position between the two, he was able to set it up. So, and there are still FOSS programs, well, whatever it's called now. I don't know what FOSS is called now, New Money. It's changed its name so often. But, once they got up and running, previous to Roy's course was a course for coaches. So we actually did 2 years for coaches first, and then Joe was pushing for this all the time to get it over the line for players. So Roy was on the first players one, right? So we're on to Roy now again. After giving Joe his due, we're on to Roy. Okay, I'll tell you what he was like. And people ask me this all the time, and I'm sorry I have to give you a stock answer about it, right? He was so determined, and he was so steely in his determination to do well, right? That my memory of him now, and again, it's a while ago now.
Yeah.
My memory wouldn't be too great now at this stage, right? I've started to reach that stage, but I always remember his determination and his ability to. He always wanted to work. You could see his strength of mind all the time. And I tell you what, we were new to the game in terms of full-time training back then, right? So the players. Again, FOSS came out of the construction industry, and the construction industry was very much be in at 8:30, make sure you clock in, make sure you clock out. So we were in every single day, training twice a day, okay? Which now we know is not, it's not a recipe for success, because what wasn't built into that was proper rest and regeneration. We were hammering the players. The players were absolutely, they were knackered. Yeah. Right, but again, I know you think I keep avoiding Roy Keane, but when the players had reached that stage, when there was an awful lot, right, of staleness, and when there was an awful lot of tiredness around, my abiding memory of Roy Keane was that he was always working. Right, he was able to keep that determination. Now we know now from talking to him and how many books how many autobiographies has he written now? Like, he was so single-minded because he wanted to make it. But that was my memory of him too, right? Now, my other memory of him was, and again, this is the stock answer I give about him, right? Wherever you put him, he was able to do it. Right? Whatever you asked him to do, he would do it for you. He had that ability to step up, no matter what. So the Roy Keane that went from Rockmount stepped into the Cove Ramblers team and just played the same way, right? Yeah. He stepped in, he went from our course, now he went straight from the course, as you know, he went straight from our course to Nottingham Forest, right? And Roy Keane just played like Roy Keane. He just did the same thing. He played the same way. He went out and he just played the exact same way, right? And again, the same thing again. He stepped up from Nottingham Forest, he went into Manchester United team and he just played. He had such self-belief, right? And he had such belief in his ability. And again, like I say, he had a steely determination, right? And you might, if you wanted to be unkind, you could say it was a one-eyed selfishness that he thought of Roy. He wanted Roy to succeed, but he backed it up with the hard work.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in terms of what he became, I could see the same Roy Keane shouting and roaring at the Manchester United players as I saw him shouting and roaring at our lads, right? The same fella who wanted to do it. and you know, he was able to push people, and he was a lot quieter then, but he was still in the dressing room with the lads. He was a strong personality, and he would have been one of the leaders. And again, a stock answer I give you about that course. And I know you had on O'Callaghan on, who wrote a book about him and spoke to all the lads that were on the course. And a lot of them would have concurred with what I'm going to tell you, was that I didn't think Roy, in terms of ability, was the best player on that course. And a lot of the lads would say that, because Tony Gorman and Pat Fenlon, I would have put, in terms of my judgment, which has been proved wrong, those two guys would have been better prepared, would have been better players at that time. Now, both of them had great careers here, like both of them, both sides of the border here, right? Very, very good players. But I would have said Roy would have been third in the pecking order there, you know. But like I said, and we know this now. Like, everyone knows this. Everyone acknowledges this now, and the proliferation now of sports psychologists or mental fitness trainers. It's the mental quality that gets the players to where. It's not the physical quality. We adore the physical quality. Everyone sort of, you know, like I said before, your granny can go down and see the best physical players, the fella who can beat everyone. You don't have to be, I don't think you have to be highly qualified to be a football scout, because your granny can go down and see the fella who's going to going away from England, you know. But it's the mental qualities that decide whether players are going to make it at the really, really highest level. And again, the mental quality that Roy Keane, I couldn't put my name on the actual quality I'm saying, but it was just that ability to step up. I'm sure huge self-belief, huge self-confidence. Yeah, and I think one thing as well about Roy that I like about Roy, and people like about Roy now, he always was able to see through, for want of a better term, and I hate using in any way sort of bad language, you know, with you, but he was always able to see through the bullshit that was going on around. Mm-hmm. I mean, he would call out hypocrisy, and he'd have the odd sly remark to the coaches and to Joe McGrath as the manager of the team and all that. You know, you could see that at an early age. He hadn't got much time for that. He could see through all the excess and all the fun and all the circus that goes on around being a professional footballer. I think he could always see through that, and I think that helped him be the player that he was. And that was reflected, I think, in the way that he played on the pitch, because he was a no-nonsense player. But when I say no-nonsense, I think it was Teddy Sheringham, I don't know, it could have been one of the front players lately, has been quoted as saying his best server, for want of a better term, in other words, the guy who got the ball up to him the most, up to his feet the most, and with the best quality on the pass, was Roy Keane. Mm-hmm. You know, but it looked like a playing game. Everyone talks about his ability to get around the field and to dominate physically. It looked like a playing game, but someone who can play plainly that well, managers absolutely love that player. Yeah. These are the players that managers want, that can get on the field, do their job, do the simple things, but do the simple things really, really, really well. And that would be Roy Keane to me. You know, that apart from the physical commitment and his ability to dominate the people around him, both on his own team and the other team, I think in terms of just sculpting his game down to the basics of controlling the ball well and passing the ball well, he brought that to a fantastic level, right? And then coupled with the other qualities as well, made him the player and the leader that he was as well.
Yeah, and there's the famous Brian Clough quote to Roy Keane. I think I'm going to butcher it. He wrote it in his book about his debut, and Clough, the thing that he asked him was, can you control the ball? Can you pass it? Can you run with it? Yeah. And it was a yes to all three of that. And
probably, you know, these are all things you're only guessing, because no one knows other than the guys that are there at the time. But I think that simple approach from Brian Clough would have been exactly what Roy Keane needed. He would have, like I said, he would have been the player that exemplified that for Clough. So the two of them were a great partnership. You know, Roy could have landed at a club where they were asking to do different things. They could have asked him to be rotating in midfield, as he spoke about earlier, right? Rather than getting on the ball and using it well. And like I said, you know, these these are the players that the public don't actually appreciate as much as they probably should. But these are the players that coaches and managers really, really appreciate having in their team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Roy Keane, he's an interesting character, so it was great to get a bit of background on him as well.
Yeah.
Larry, it's been brilliant having you on the show, and as I said, there's still tons that I could have gotten into tonight that I didn't have time to, so we might reschedule and do this again sometime.
But I just got a plug in for the book, Enda.
Yeah. So it is Let the Players Play.
Yeah, the
by
name of the
Larry
book.
Mahony. Where can you get it?
Right, the name of the book is Let the Players Play, but the webpage for ordering the book, you can only get it on the webpage. It's bigpicturecoachingireland.com.
Bigpicturecoachingireland.com. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I will put a link on the YouTube of this. I'll put a link with the podcast as well. And it's bigpicturecoaching.com is where people can get the book, Let the Players Play. Larry Mahony, it's been brilliant having you on the show. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, and I really enjoyed it. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to you.